You always have these obstacles in your way that's always going to test you, test your faith, test your commitment. And she was a cow. 10 miles in the woods is 10 miles out of the woods. And for some reason, that always stuck with me. See, I fucked up pretty bad. So it's going to take forever to get out of this hole. I was born in Beverly, Massachusetts, 1987, February 5th. And we lived in Ipswich for a little bit. About 2 years old, and for some reason, I don't recall, we moved to Gloucester. My biological father at that point was in a lot of trouble. He ended up going to prison. So my mom raised me and my brother. She worked 3 jobs, tried to put food on the table, did everything in her power to buy us fresh sneakers, Christmas, our birthdays. We never knew the difference of rich, poor, whatever. Lights would go out once in a while. We just thought it was normal. Candlelight. Heat would go out. We'll boil water for tubs. We never took anything for granted. That was basically my whole childhood. This place was amazing. Like I said, all those sports I played, my mom working 3 jobs. We didn't know the difference young. We loved this place. We had so many kids growing up on the street. We would be out here playing football. This was the only street in Gloucester that had a curfew. We had a curfew. I played football, baseball, basketball, soccer. Same with my brother. I would have double practices, double games a day. My mom would bring me to baseball practice in the morning. At night, I would have soccer practice or a game. I did that all the way up until 13, 14. I was in the newspaper every week for scoring lots of goals, and just everybody knew me as an athlete and a good kid, and I was going to be something someday. My mom had this boyfriend who was a cop. He was trying to take control of the house. He moved in instantly. It was on me and my brother's ass. If I didn't take the trash out one morning, I'll come home and be like all over my bed. If I was skating too late, he would break my skateboard. So I just started acting out and not coming home, and hanging out with the wrong kids. Started dabbing with drinking and getting into like pills, and he would know it instantly that I came home. I just started acting out. My brother was a saint. He didn't really do much. I mean, he listened, but for me, I don't know what it was. I did my own thing on my own route. He wasn't our father, and he took control and took over the house and basically drove me out of the house, and I ended up moving with my grandparents. My mom and her boyfriend ended up getting a lot of fights, and they ended up breaking up over me, basically. And my mom kind of held a resentment towards me. And now that I think of it, maybe that's why I started acting out so early, at an early age. That's kind of where it took off. I went to my first rehab at freshman at 16 years old for 3 months during school year. So when I came back, I was really far behind in the school year. They ended up kicking me off the football team because my grades were so low. And then I kind of was like, well, what's the point? I already messed up this bad. And being so young, you think the world is over at this point. I felt way behind in school. I graduate that program. I come back as a third-year freshman. All my friends are juniors, playing football, varsity. Have these girls going to prom. I'm sleeping like 2 p.m. Like just waiting for people to get out of school so we can go do something. And I feel like a bum at this point. And it just started getting real dark real early in my life. I was 17 when I dropped out.
Things or relationships that you felt like you needed to not recover, but go back and reconcile?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably just my mom and my brother and my grandparents. I put everybody through hell. I mean, I drove my mom into alcoholism. She didn't know how to deal with it. How could her kid, that she's worked so hard to put food on the table and fresh sneakers every birthday and Christmas. I didn't know the difference. We were poor growing up, but she did everything she could and I had every single. So I started running 18, 19, 20 with the wrong crowd, getting messed up all the time. You know, drinking, smoking, doing pills, anything I can get my hands on just to kind of feel different. I was so empty, I didn't really have any direction. All my boys were going to college at this time. I had no girl, no friends, hanging out with drug addicts, basically. We just didn't know it yet. No, not really.
Is that it?
Yeah. So even like all the shit that went down at this house and how dark it was, she still was able to put her own little...
Find some joy.
Joy.
Paint a sun.
Paint a sun. Seriously. I felt so low. There was nothing going for myself. If I die, I die. If I don't die, then it's meant to be. I'm here for a reason. I don't even know where I got it, how I got it. Must have got it from someone's house. I was like, I'll just take all these. So what I did was I took all of them. And sure enough, my mom comes home, started screaming, Kyle, 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 Kyle. And I remember trying to respond, I couldn't respond. And all of a sudden, men were there, EMTs were there, screaming in my face, what's my last name, what's my last name? And trying to verbalize it, but it just wasn't coming out. And I remember waking up, trying to open my eyes, and I saw like everybody, my family, my grandparents, my mom, my brother, just all staring at me, crying. And I just remember falling back asleep. I don't know, like a dark moment in your life, you kind of want to run away from it. You want to run away from it and never look back. And it's hard to face it sometimes, of what you did and what you've gone through, but I kind of like doing it now. They came and brought me to a mental institution to analyze me for about 2 weeks. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? What did I do? And this is the first time I'm talking about it. I was so embarrassed about the whole thing, and I didn't want to show my face in Gloucester. Or I didn't want nobody knowing. This kid who had everything going for him, good looking kid, could play any single sport, you know, had a good family, threw it all away and tried to end his life. After that, I was there for about 2 weeks. They let me go, came home. They said I'm okay. You know, he has a substance abuse problem. Shipped me out to a halfway house. I'm the youngest kid there, 19 with 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. I was in and out of halls for about 6 months with them. And I really wanted to get clean. I really wanted to change my life around. They inspired me. I was 19, man, and I started doing the 12 steps. And I remember being in this hall, and this guy said, I come here and I talk to you guys and I open up, because if there's one person in this room that hears me and I save their life, then it's all worth it. And for some reason that stuck with me. I felt like he was talking to me. And I was like, I know he's talking to me. I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna change. I think I was clean for a week. I stopped going to meetings. I ran with some of my old friends, and we went to a party. I was like, what's one beer gonna do? I'll have one beer. 3 years go by. Causing trouble, racking up charges, stole a couple cars, stealing stuff to make money, so I can just afford whatever I get my hands on. One morning, I was walking across the street to go play video games with my brother. He lived in the next door over with one of his buddies. And as soon as I stepped outside, these detectives on my cars just pull up, draw their gun on me, tell me to get down on the ground. I ran in the house. I'm fucked. They had enough of me. I think I was 22 at this time. This is when my life started to change though. They basically want to throw the book at me and get me out of Gloucester. The worst part of all this is I'm a good person. I'm a loving, caring, nice, genuine person. But when I get fucked up, the demons come out. And I don't remember anything. And when I wake up, I'm like, damn, who do I have to apologize to today? What did I do? They throw me in jail for about 33 days, and this is when I was the closest to my biological father. He was in the next block over. I knew he was there. He knew I was there. We didn't see each other personally, but he had people come talk to me and stuff like that and give me advice. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, that's my father over there. The apple does not fall far from the tree. I keep this up, I'm gonna be either here forever or dead. I had like a spiritual awakening. Surprisingly, me ODing wasn't rock bottom. Me being in jail, seeing my father the next block was rock bottom. At that point, I remember praying, saying, God, I need a change, I want to change. I was crying, I'd given everything away, my family. I almost gave my life, I tried to take my own life, like, this is not me. You know, I'm a good person, I need something different. And then when they took me to court to be awaited my sentencing, they wanted to give me 5 years. And I just kind of was quiet. I was just gonna take my punishment like a man. The judge asked me if I had one thing I would like to say. Judge, I never begged or plead for anything in my life, but I'm begging you now. You look at my record, you can see every single one of these times I've ever been in trouble, I was intoxicated. I was like, you see, I have a problem. Throw me in jail right now, it's not gonna help me. I need a chance. He's like, well, how many chances are we giving you? I was like, you gave me tons, but I was in jail. My father was the next block over. I had this awakening that if I continue this behavior, that's gonna be me. He said, all right, Kyle, I'm gonna give you 5 years probation. If you mess up once, I'm giving you the maximum sentence, no parole, no good time. You can go to jail right now, and if you're good in there for 2 years, you come out. You can do the rest on probation. Are you sure this is what you wanna do? I said, no, I'm done, please. He said, all right, Kyle. And he gave me the probation. Went home, had to check into probation every single week. My daily whereabouts, had to call in, drug tests every single week. In the meantime, I needed to figure out to do something. So we came down with a plan. I talked to my family, my grandparents, and we decided that I need to learn a skill because I have nothing going for me right now. So we picked welding. We can go to welding school. And that's where my sobriety started. My sobriety started not with AA or NA. It was just having my mind preoccupied on something. And at this time, it was welding. I just needed some structure. I needed something to work towards. That's where these little goals started adding up. And I ended up getting 6 months clean in there. I was like, shit, I'm really doing it. We're welding during the day, working at Denny's graveyard shift, getting like 3-4 hours of sleep before we had to go back to school. We did that for 2 years. I ended up meeting this kid, Perry Filkins. Like an angel sent down. He's like, dude, you look like a fighter. He was into MMA. He was an amateur fighter at this time. He's like, what are you doing tonight? Let's do some sparring. I didn't know what sparring was. So I was scared shit because he told me a little bit about it. He got the gloves and he beat the piss out of me, but I didn't back down. was the first athletic thing I'd done since I fucked up. I was about a year clean at this time. My buddies wanted to go to a club. All right, let's go. I wanted to see how much I've changed. I went. This is where I met my wife, Brittany. I connected eyes with Britt, and we just hit it off. We clicked, and then we were inseparable after that. And she's been my ride or die. Helped me through everything. I didn't have no license at the time. She was coming up to Hartford, Connecticut on the weekends to come visit me. The second year, it was about just completing this. I can do this. I met a girl. I refrained from alcohol. I have 1 year left in welding school. I graduated welding school. I hit up my friend Perry again, and he was training up in Hooksett, New Hampshire at Militich Fighting System. Brittany, she offered to drive me up there every single Sunday. It was like an hour and a half. Finally show my face every Sunday for 3 months, and they say, hey, what do you think about fighting? I was like, shit, I've never been in a fight sober. Let's do it. Had my first amateur fight. It was in October, and I won. I won my first amateur fight at Combat Zone in New Hampshire, but then I was hooked. It's like, this is it, man. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm fucking doing. I stumbled at Broadway Jiu-Jitsu in Boston. I didn't know anything. I've never really done any jiu-jitsu. I borrowed a gi, and it was just Thursday Night Live, just 90 minutes of just rolling. And I got my ass whooped. Gi burn, mat burn, but I fucking loved it. I was like, I gotta come here again. Now I'm incrementally in my brain trying to figure out how I can get closer and closer to Boston so I can just be at Broadway every single day and train and do something with my life. I go 5-0, 6-0 as an amateur fighter under John Clark at Broadway. My job moves to Mexico and offers me this position. Say, come to Mexico with us. We'll give you opportunity. We can work there. I talked to my family, came up with this idea. It's like, guys, I want to make a run at this. I want to make a run as being a professional athlete, professional mixed martial arts fighter. I thought they were going to think I was crazy, but they all supported me. They said, give it 1 year. If you don't become professional in 1 year, put your resume back out there and get a welding job. At this point, I think I'm 4 or 5 years clean now. Haven't gone to a meeting, but been on the mats. That was my meeting. I went 6-0 as a professional under the CS banner. Broke my orbital bone. I won that fight. I knew the UFC was coming to Boston. And sure enough, someone got hurt and they're looking for a local guy who can jump in 5 days' notice. They reached out to me. And, are you healthy? Fuck yeah, I'm healthy. Let's go. Let's go. Five days notice, man. Cut all that weight again. Fought Charles Rosa, Boston native as well. We threw down for 3 rounds, and I just remember just smiling. It's like, this is fucking awesome. I made it. I did it. I'm here. All this adversity I fucking went through. I'm in the UFC right now. As this kid's punching me, these thoughts are coming in my head. Like, it didn't matter, win or lose. I did it. No UFC jitters, nothing. I fought Enrique Barzola in Vancouver, Canada, and got my first UFC win. It was huge. A nice feather in my cap. And I think at this point I was 8 years clean. But I was a changed man. I'm different now. Like, I've gone through so much adversity with no hope, almost taking my own life, going to jail, getting my Cinderella license, applying to these jobs, training, doing everything I possibly can to get to the gym, training twice a day, having amateur fights, deciding to go pro when my company decided to move to Mexico for cheaper labor. Just always had a way of now making a shitty situation positive. And this is who I was all along. And I knew in my past, I was just lost. All I can do now is just set little goals. And when you look back 10 years later, you're on a mountain of goals. I would never thought I would be in the UFC, married, nice house. I could have been dead at 19. So now I have 6 fights in the UFC. Coming up on my 7th fight. Fighting at the Garden for the 3rd time. So the future looks bright.
I just did. What does that mean?
Yeah, when you hear the words "go time," what do you think about?
Go time. Think about flipping the switch and just, I don't know if it's, back there when I was working out, like I talk to myself, I go hard as I possibly can. And it makes me feel like a monster, like a beast, that it's time to go. It's time to just let it go, let everything out, and just push as hard as you fucking possibly can. Let those demons out. Everything that you've just been pushing back, let it all out. Let those war cries, let everything out. Who cares who's watching? Who cares who's thinking? Be yourself and just go hard as you possibly can. When I hear go time, that's what I think about.
Hailing from Winthrop, Massachusetts, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Bochniak!
We came to win, we lost before, but never again. Back on our grind, you know what it is. Yeah, this is our year. Knock us down once, we got up again. Put in the work, so I know we gon' win. This is for real, we never pretend. We gotta win, win, yeah. I had to stop being basic. Part of my dreams had to chase them. You counted me out, I counted me in. Fell off before, but never again. They boxing me out, I never fit in. Never will fold, never could bend. Just wanna win.